Radiant's ban.
No way to see you, but your eyes are as pure as the clouds.
I should have seen that one coming.
Radiant's ban. Seconds to go. 5 seconds. Dyer's ban.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Collegiate Star League. Officially 2 weeks remain in the Collegiate Dota regular season, as tonight we try to put a cap on Week 13. We head down to the Pudge Division, where one of the CSL's best is playing tonight. That's Michigan. Undefeated, 11-0 so far in the season. They'll be looking to continue their perfect run versus North Texas. A big shout out to our sponsors, Twitch, for sponsoring the CSL and featuring our matches weekly. We're proud to be affiliated with the largest gaming stream provider in the world. And of course, a giant shout out to Asus Republic of Gamers. Asus is the presenting sponsor of the CSL this year. Asus makes some of the world's best gaming PCs, laptops, and monitors. Asus is funding this season's travel to DreamHack and our prize pool for the entire year. Be sure to follow their social media at Asus_ROG and thank them for sponsoring the CSL. They're also paying for flights and travel for everyone to head to DreamHack, where the grand final will be held this year. Don't forget, StarCraft 2 and Hearthstone are back. You can catch both on Tuesdays and Thursdays on C-Star League 2, while Hearthstone is on Wednesdays and Fridays across both of our channels. CSGO has settled into the rotation of CSL and can be found in the evenings on Wednesday and the afternoon on Saturday. And of course, as you know, Tuesday and Thursday nights here on CSL 1, you can catch Dota on Mondays and Fridays. You can catch League if you hate your life. If you miss any matches, check out our YouTube, and we'll have updates of every game that has been played. Now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, my name's Toffees. You can find me at Toffees TV. I am joined by my co-caster, my partner in crime, when it comes to all things Collegiate Dota, Gorgon the Wonder Cow. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing well. It's a pleasure to be here, as always, casting U of M versus North Texas, a college that I lived down the road from at the end of last year, and the college that I live right next to now.
So,
it's like they're battling for my amusement.
Are you a U of M man in terms of attendance, or do you just live nearby?
My alma mater is Michigan State, which is their rivals.
Ooh.
But I have lived in Ann Arbor since I graduated, with the exception of when I lived in North Texas. So for many years, I'm basically an Ann Arbor townie at this point.
Fair enough. All
so
right.
You know, I go either way.
So the townie and the Toffees casting this game, and it should be a pretty good matchup. Now it is University of Michigan, as we said, against University of Northern Texas. UNT is in a different situation than Michigan. Right now, Michigan's at 11-0. They're looking at an easy run to playoffs and a good push into DreamHack. On the other side, North Texas is 5-6. They're effectively out of contention for the playoffs at this point, but this is a chance for them to really hone their skills for future seasons against one of the best teams in the entire league. Now, I want to preface this. The guys from North Texas have not been pushovers. The teams that they've lost to are Northeastern, Cornell, UC Berkeley. These are teams that have put up some pretty good numbers throughout the season. So they are by no means a walkover team. Unfortunately for them, Michigan has just been on a power slide that no one can seem to stand in the way of.
Well, we're about to see if North Texas can. I do have some rapport with a faction of the U of M team. I'm not like super close to any of them, but I do communicate with them, and I'm under the impression that at least game one is going to have some surprises in terms of the draft, some uncommon picks. I'm not sure if this is stuff that they would have practiced, but I'm expecting it is not. So maybe we're going to see a bit of a goofball game one, or maybe we're going to see a very abnormal but interesting draft. It's still too early to tell.
It'll be interesting to see. They did drop a game early last week. They won the set, but the first game didn't go well for them. Maybe they were doing the same thing. I understand it, but I got to wonder about it, Gorgon. When you're looking at a chance to get good seeding going into a scholarship land final at DreamHack in Austin, I question the willingness to goof around, right? Because if it ruins your seed, and you could look at it down the line and say, I lost because I got seeded against a team that just had our number, you'd really kick yourself from messing around. Because when it comes down to the seeding, if the score is tied, it's going to come down to game record. So that is something that these guys do have to keep in mind. I'm curious to see where they go. They got a Treant Protector and a Crystal Maiden, Lone Druid. This is a interesting draft. It feels a little bit like they're going to do sort of a what we've seen out of EG recently, that sort of floating Treant, Lone Druid split push. I don't know. Do you think that a Treant Crystal Maiden is a strong enough support duo to take a game in the current meta?
It depends on how strong the players are, right? So Treant is a weird pick here.
Mm-hmm.
It is, to reuse a word I just used, a somewhat surprising pick, if only because they don't have a lot of follow-up with it in terms of the AoE potential with the overgrowth. They don't have a lot that the living armor is going to protect, other than maybe a lone druid pushing. But it seems like alongside that Treant Protector, they will want to get some early mid-game pushers. And Juggernaut is still in the pool. He is very popular. He would fit that. Chen also still in the pool, and you could have that Treant Protector play as an off lane if you needed to. I don't know if Treant Crystal Maiden is the best support duo ever. Here we go. An Abaddon. That's a very aggressive core pickup here.
Interesting.
Looks like that might be a farming carry Abaddon out of an aggressive tri lane with a lone druid solo safe lane. If I had to guess, just looking at the lineup, that seems to be the aggressive posture that this draft wants.
I'm curious to see where they go with in the last pick. Crystal Maiden, obviously one of her main functionalities to me, or one of the values that she brings, is that mana regen that's incredibly strong, especially early on. Do any of these heroes, I know the Treant not so much, it's pretty easy for him to keep his mana up with something as simple as a Ring of Basilisk. Are either of those other two heroes really mana dependent or struggle for mana in the early game, or are we looking at a fifth pick that'll justify it? Because it feels like right now, Crystal Maiden is really uncomfortable for me.
So here's the issue, right? The Abaddon can always use a little more mana because he's going to be able to use that Aphotic Shield nonstop. But I think the Crystal Maiden, if you do buy into this idea that they're looking to aggressively tri-lane, if you're buying into that concept, then Crystal Maiden's strong, disable, slow combination is more important for the early game than that mana. And that Arcane Aura will come up and help out a little bit later on when the Treant Protector is trying to non-stop cast Living Armor globally. Now, to talk about the Radiant a bit, the Zeus appears to be your mid laner. You're going to have Slardar in the off lane, and then a roaming Earthshaker with the Keeper of the Light. Keeper of the Light is a decent hero at dealing with aggressive tri-lanes as long as he stays near the tower and does go for an Illuminate build. If he goes for the Mana Leak style build, it has a tendency to backfire on him because he can only slow down one of the three heroes approaching his tower.
Right. Curious to see where they go. Obviously, they do have the ability to defend against a split push or any push for that matter with the Coddle. Going to be a strong pickup. I like the potential that they have here to even shift into an aggressive tri-lane, to go aggressive if they want to. Keeper Earthshaker, I think, is actually a pretty good aggressive tri-lane duo that we don't see as often as we could, because if you open up with a good Illuminate, and even if you hit a level 1 Mana Leak into an Earthshaker Fissure, long story short, if they try to go around the fissure, they're going to stun themselves. They can't just stand there or they die to a Slardar Sprint. I do think there's potential for them to make that shift if they need to, and I like where Radiant's going with this draft. The problem that I have for U of M is that they don't have an effective stun for me to go up against this lineup, and they're going to need that to deal with the amount here.
They do a Frostbite. That's a pretty effective stun.
I mean, it's an effective hold you in place, but you can cast spells. You can still do things while you're in the Frostbite. So yes.
Oh, you mean like CC? You're not talking.
I mean CC, canceling TPs, things like that. I don't see a lot of that in U of M.
Yeah, they can cancel out the TP now with the Unstable Concoction, which is unreliable. And of course, the Frostbite will, as well as the Treant.
Did they add the mini? I thought they removed the mini stun from the Frostbite.
I'm pretty sure if you'll cancel channeling with it.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. I remember that they made a change to her that hurt my heart. I don't remember if that's what it was or if it was something else down the line. Or if there was maybe another hero that had the mini stun taken away that I'm thinking of. That said, though, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
I think you might be thinking of somebody else.
Oh.
I remember that when that change happened because we casted Sivo back then. I
Right.
remember exactly what you're talking about. I just don't remember
Which hero
exactly
lost the
the
mini stun.
hero that it was. But yeah, there is a mini stun on Frostbite still. So
Okay. I don't remember who it was. If you guys can think of the hero that lost their mini stun about a year ago.
Dazzle.
It was Dazzle. That's what it
They
was.
removed it from the end of Poison Touch until level 4.
That that hurt Dazzle pretty hard.
That broke your heart. And at the same time, there was a change to Crystal Maiden to her movement speed, which also
Yeah.
broke your heart. See, I am the diary of your Dota emotions.
Both of my
I
heroes
keep it all
were
locked
broken
away.
in that moment. So at level 4, does Dazzle have a mini stun at the front end or just the back end? It's the back end of the spell. That's what I thought. Okay. All right. Let's do some quick intro. Actually, well, it wouldn't be College Dota without a pause to start it, guys. This is week 13, by the way. So if you guys are just tuning in, this is the home stretch as we get ready for playoffs. Really want to see what Michigan's got going on. But like you said, Gorgon, if they can win with cheeky strats or things that they find fun, that's really, I mean, that's optimal, right? Because that means that anybody who's scouting them for playoffs at this point isn't going to get a good feel for what they are actually capable of running or what they've been working on.
Right, and just because they do something abnormal does not mean that they're doing something that they don't know how to do.
I gotcha.
Right, those are different concepts, I think, entirely. We see teams do really weird stuff. Like, remember at the Frankfurt Major when Secret just whipped out the tiny support out of the jungle hole? They obviously had run that enough to feel comfortable with it before they did it. So just because it's a surprise does not mean that the team will collapse with inability because they're running it, right?
Let's do some quick introductions real quick because I think we've got everybody joining in. I want to do that, and then we'll talk as they head towards the gang. So for University of Michigan on the Dire side, right up in the pit, we're going to have Lone Druid being played by Ty. We are going to have the Crystal Maiden played by the AA. That's going to get confusing. We're going to have Nice Player here on the Abaddon. Then we're going to have the Treant Protector played by Pave. And last but certainly not least, we're going to have the Alchemist played... Wait, there he goes. Alchemist is going to be played by Zingle. Sorry, for some reason we were having some issues with the camera. Go ahead, Gorgon. Tell us more about the radio.
All right. And here for the Radiant side, University of North Texas, we've got Death slithering around on that Medusa. It's going to be Fang crushing it on the Slardar. Sunki is stomping with the Earthshaker. Leon Yu is playing Electric on that Zeus. And Dr. Professor is illuminating with the Keeper of the Light.
All right, well, that's the game as they break down. Last hit tonight chart is up for you guys. So keep an eye on this match as we see where everybody goes. Is that going to be an Alchemist mid or a Lone Druid mid? What are your thoughts?
I think it's Alchemist mid. I think they're going to do the aggressive tri-lane. I think they're going to put the Alchemist mid, and I think that they are going to end up putting that Lone Druid in the solo safe lane.
Yeah.
But if Alchemist does go mid and doesn't get off to a good start, and this aggressive tri-lane fails to get kills, the game collapses out from under them. One thing that I do want to point out is that they did appropriately draft for a mid Alchemist. They have all Aghanim Scepter users on the team, so what they can do is get up that fast radiance, and then they can make the decision for the Alchemist if he wants to go into a split push build, or if he wants to start getting combat items and dishing out ags as well. So it really will depend on how well he's doing, probably, but they do have that option.
All right, so Coddle on the Radiant side grabbed a quick smoke as they rotate everybody towards the bottom. There's no smoke on the Dire side. They don't really have an early Roche lineup, so it looks like they're going to go look for a 5 versus 5 in the opponent's jungle. Now, the person with the smoke is lagging behind, so it is not likely that they will smoke before the initiation happens. Death is out in front. He does immediately spot the Alchemist. Alchemist doesn't have a stun. He went to Grievel's Greed. He had no other choice, and they're going to wrap around 5. It looks like Fan is going to come in first. Now, Ty's got to back away, but a nice triple stun from the Fisher puts him in dire straits. That arrow very, very strong, but here's the background from Pave. Pave does so much right-click damage early, Spooky, very low. That should finish the job, and that will be the first blood going to Ty. Spooky with a lot of self-control to allow that to wait. Nice play by Nice Player here as he blocks the tree escape by Leon Yu and allows the last hit for the Treant Protector to make it a double. What that's also effectively done is given Zingle an easy grab on the Midas, and thankfully for the Radiant side, they did send Fang up to the top to make sure that the second bounty rune was not on standby for the Alchemist. Once things started to unravel, they realized a 5-on-5 would essentially mean Alch gets both runes, and I think that would be too devastating for them to deal with out of the gate.
It appears that we're going to have an Alchemist safe lane and an Abaddon off lane with a mid lone druid. This is a weird configuration for sure. So the Alchemist in the safe lane typically doesn't work out for you just because he windows so far apart from where the rest of your team windows in terms of his ability to get active. I would be very surprised if he does not buy Ags for his team somewhere around that 20 to 25 minute mark. If the game is still going strong at that point, I'd be very surprised.
Spooky almost got a nice little play there. Fisher to the wrong side. It would have forced him back nicely. Managing would have done a little more effect. But that said, they are very aggressively showing that Abaddon is going to have a tough time here down on the bottom lane. Meanwhile, up on the top, Fang going to be in a little bit of a struggle bus as well, as we are playing the ward game. AA doing a good job getting the D ward up and killing it before Fang can wrap around and try to stop her. So Fang has now lost his vision advantage as well. Meanwhile, in the mid, it looks like the tree was hoping to get himself a courier, but Leon Yu smells it out and comes back to grab his bottle.
Smart move.
Very.
Whenever you can, especially if lane equilibrium is out of his favor here on his opponent's high ground. Into a bear, he can't really get up and get those last hits without mana anyway. So walking back and losing the half of a wave of experience to make sure that his bottle is safe was really intuitive. Not a lot of players do that in the CSL.
Yeah, very thought forward thinking of Pave to go, like, to have the Treant go up there knowing that the fast bottle is going to come out pre 2 minutes. And like you said, Leon Yu knowing that the other team knew that they would be doing something there. So great, what do you want to call that? Inception game, a little bit of craziness going on. Dr. Professor comes over, guards the bottom rune for Leon Yu, who's going to burn all of his bottle charges, get a haster, and head right back to mid. Happily along the way, probably would have preferred an arcane rune or a restoration even better. But you know what? If you get a free rune and it's a haste, that feels pretty good.
A haste on Zeus is a kill if he plays it.
If he
right.
plays it
I mean,
right.
he can haste up, run up to Zingle when he gets what Leon Yu needs level 4, 5, and he can just run up there with the Slard or a stun, followed up by.
I think a 5's a guarantee. A 4 would be a little bit tight depending on how low he is.
Yeah.
Well,
but
we'll find out.
They're doing a really good job here of giving Zingle on the Alchemist free experience. Like neither the tree nor the CM are really taking experience out of this lane.
Yeah.
So the rotation will be difficult because Alchemist will have level 6 actually pretty soon.
So we're going to see AA move down towards the bottom a little bit, presumably do some jungling, stacking some camps. This is what I love about the Crystal Maiden. We've talked about it before in past games. The fact that she can come out and help if needed. But you know what? If you feel safe, if you're comfortable with where you are, she can just disappear into the jungle and do a nice little support casual jungle plus stack, which I think is really, really valuable because it means everyone else has to play relatively safe when she's off the map like that. So
yeah. And also it's just allowing her to put up stacks for the Alchemist, right?
Yep.
Those Alchemist stacks are going to be worth a lot of gold later on.
Absolutely. So she's just going to keep putting the stacks up, takes a creep for herself as a tax every time she stacks. But,
well, here's the thing with the Alchemist that makes it so great is that he gets about the same amount of gold regardless of whether or not she takes the big creeps. The small creeps are the ones he actually wants. So it works out. She can take the big creep, get the experience, get the gold. Zingle still gets a huge influx of gold from being able to quickly knock down those smaller creeps and then go back to lane with a single acid spray.
Nice player got knocked down, almost 500 health in that little engagement there. He's having a hard time. Fang is going to take a lot of damage as well, so both offlaners getting harassed aggressively at the exact same time. Leon Yu is going to get a haste rune, head down, and immediately bottles himself an invisibility rune to go alongside of it, but that's just to get his regen up as he heads back towards the middle lane for those last hits. I think that's a really good point. I honestly hadn't thought about that synergy because you always feel bad with the Crystal Maiden when you're sort of taxing the big creep because that's the one most of the farmers want to get their hands on. So a lot of little creeps, though, like you said, really valuable. Lets that Alchemist just tear through the jungle on his first rotation and maximize Greevil's greed. Very, very cool. Very interesting thought process when they put this draft together.
It's easier to stack, too, if the big creeps are gone. The small creeps have a tendency not to have as much base collision problems when you're trying to stack them, so you can get more stacks. For the Alchemist, that will end up meaning more gold relative to having one big creep because he gets the Greevil's greed gold every time.
All right, up on the top lane again, Fang getting pushed back by Pave pretty aggressively. Dr. Professor and Spooky trying to find the ward, and there they finally do. Put down in a very nice spot. Not my favorite, doesn't block the camp. If you drop it there, it'll actually block the top camp, which is very, very nice in terms of keeping the pull. So close, but these new boxes are a lot trickier, in my opinion, than they used to be.
I think for Nice Player here, he intentionally wanted to avoid blocking that camp so that he could leach experience and that his ward is harder to find. right? Because for him,
sense.
especially since the CM is not going for an arcane or a max build,
Mm.
for him it's really just about survival, and it's okay if the supports are getting a bit of experience and gold off of the stacks, because it also means nice player here is going to get a bit as well.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. Nice player here is going to get mana leaked again, gets stunned right away. Doesn't have a lot of mana to give at this point in time, as he is managing to stay in lane just on the back of Pave, who has put 2 points into his living armor and is spending a lot of it on the bottom lane. In the middle, T1E or Ty, whatever you want to say here, is doing a pretty good job. He's 37-11. Zeus only 21-0. So that's the nature of the Zeus. He does get guaranteed last hits, but it's difficult to get denies with the Zeus, and it's difficult to really stay on pace with a Spirit Bear and the Lone Druid sort of going at you the entire time.
Wow, that's a 6-minute Midas onto the Lone Druid out of the mid lane.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
really good.
That's great. That's phenomenal.
He has brown boots on the Spirit Bear already too, and a wand.
Well, he is 40-11, so Dire doing a great job of their last hitting. I mean, 41-14 for the Alchemist, 40-11. Radiant not even close to that CS count. And I think that we're going to see.
He shouldn't honestly be able to have. Oh, there we go. He is going to be rotated on, but the Fissure will miss.
Yeah,
I mean, it will hit, but it won't get the block.
And now the counter rotation looks like it comes out as Pave and AA want to chase down the Professor, saying, you try to gank us, it's time for the turnaround. The bear does dissipate just before they make contact with Dr. Professor. Abaddon going balls to the walls as he charges up the ramp. A really nice Fissure to try and square out the rest of the team. Pave is going to be isolated on the high ground. In comes the rest of the guys. They want to make a move here. We're going to see the snake arrow. Ooh, too much damage. Down goes the tree. So a bit of confidence by Michigan in good rotations out of the team. They lost the Lone Druid and they lost the Train Protector. Lone Druid went down in the mid position when he doubled back
To the
instead of doing the
Zeus.
chase.
Yeah, Zeus, since he had to leverage that ultimate out anyway, the Thunder God's Wrath, he managed to go in and close the gap, doubling down on the value of that Thunder God's Wrath. So it was a really nice little rotation and movement.
Living
Though
armor.
still, first use of that Midas was about 7 minutes. He got it short of 7 minutes. He got first use at that point. That's better than your average Invoker Midas, right? By a fair margin. Normally, your average Invoker Midas is going to come out at like 8 or 9 minutes. In terms of high-level professional play.
Right.
Granted, he hasn't been rotated on a whole lot, but even so, this Lone Druid's going to be a big problem and not very long. As will Zingle, by the way. He's got an armlet up and stacks that he can go knock down here pretty soon.
Absolutely. He's 2 points into greed and working hard. We're going to roll it over the net worth. Normally I wait till a little while longer, but the rate at which they're farming.
Kind of got to get in early.
Yeah. So let's take a look. Dr. Professor's going to be on the run from nice player here, but let's look at that. 5,000 net worth already on the Alchemist, 3.5 on the Lone Druid. The Radiant not super far behind, but definitely has to worry as the added 3 of the cores is only equal to the top 2 on the side of the Dire. So they have, yes, held back the Abaddon's ability to farm. However, Abaddon is level 6. He's fairly happy with what he's getting. He's got a headdress up and running, which is not bad for if you consider the situation he's been in on the bottom. And I really worry about how they're going to deal. Because right now, North Texas, I feel like, wants to sort of stretch it out a little bit to get that Medusa relevant in this game. But if they do that, Alchemist is going to become such a big issue, and Lone Druid is going to start to take his own towers. Meanwhile, Dr. Professor caught out with a nice rotation from Pure and the boys as he uses that Leech Seed to make sure that he just can't get away. A good kill. And University of Michigan is starting to feel a little bit like their rock's getting pushed downhill.
They should be careful with this card. They will use the speed boost, but it will be spotted, and the tree is going to try to come out and snipe it. The speed boost is used too early. This courier is going down.
Oh, there he is. He's invisible. He's got the hide. One right click because he's fast enough to get the second. No, he's not.
He didn't block the animation quite. He didn't hit it on the nose. He hit it on the butt, and he didn't block he didn't stop his attack animation. He probably could have gotten that.
Everybody knows that you can't hit a courier from behind. They're not. They just don't allow it. Gold lead is at 4,000. XP at 2. What do you got for me?
I was just going to say, Zingle just crossed the 6,000 net worth mark. And in terms of his GPM, he's almost at 600.
That's pretty good.
For this early in the game, for no tower gold, that's really good.
Yeah.
Right. The including tower gold and Ziggurat or Moonwell gold and kill gold, none of which he has right now. The highest ever GPM in a professional game is just over 1,000, I think.
Professor falls back and survives just barely. Invisibility for the tree is going to save his life. In they go. Ulti from Zeus. The reveal is there. Nice Fisher. Abaddon will be the one that ends up going down. AA just barely survives as he's almost hit by the Illuminate. Leon Yu wants to close. The mini stun's on. That drops most of the health down. AA can't take any more hits as she dodges the trees. She bought herself some regen, and she will go for the TP. They thought she'd go high, but she went low. That allows her to get out, and Zeus did not have the cooldown on Lightning Bolt as he thought, I better check high instead of down. So smart play by the AA. They did lose the Abaddon in the exchange, but Coddle also went down there in the trees. So I think that was a pick off by Treant.
Radiant's mid
Yep.
Yes.
Treant wrapped around invisible, got that right click. For the record, Treant Protector has the, I believe, it's the highest damage right click at level 1. And it scales incredibly.
Not at level 4, though.
Right. It's still 94 at level 4 for support. Still a pretty good punch.
Yes, it's a very good punch, but he attacks very slowly, and his range is crap, and his movement speed isn't super great. So, you know, there are definitely downsides. But out of that engagement, there's also a mid and top tower going down.
Absolutely.
Mid tower already down. Top tower now knocked down by the Alchemist, who has Armlet. He has a chainmail as well. I assume that he is going to go into the Solar Crest build, and he's got a Blink Dagger.
I will say this. I don't play Ability Draft anymore because it's broken at the moment, or it has felt like it for a long time. But Treant is hands down one of my favorite heroes to find in Ability Draft if you manage to land him.
Sure.
Dr. Professor, by the way, taken out. Say what?
I said his mana pool can be an issue in Ability Draft sometimes.
No, I just build him straight up right click. It's ridiculous because he starts so strong. If you get 2 or 3 items by the time he's level 3 or 4, he just snowballs out of control. No mana needed. You throw a coup de grace in there or something? I don't know. There's some ridiculous things. Anyway, all right. Zingel's going to come around, gets a stun up on Fang. Fang's with the armor reduction, but Zingel not willing to risk his situation, and very smartly jumps away, which is good because Leon Yu was circling around with his ultimate off of cooldown. So really good play. They didn't even have vision there. He just felt, Zeus is off the map. It's not a risk I'm willing to take. I've got to keep my momentum going. He's got the armlet. He's got the soul ring. He's got the boots finished up. He is doing a great job and doesn't want to lose that. Speaking of momentum, they're going to roll down towards the bottom lane with the wraparound. They come in from behind the long way. We're going to see a self-stun on the Alchemist. No, the blink worked out. Death gets caught in it, and it ends up being a kill. What a strong use of that blink by Zingel. Surprise, he says. The blink is up, and immediately they get a kill with it. Now he's going to pop his ulti, charges in the trees. Fang's going to try to circle around. Abaddon's going to have to run for the hills. There's the blink back out. Lands on Professor, gets it off before the tower touches him. That'll be a dead Keeper of the Light. And now into the trees goes Sunki, as he tries to get away. But AA smartly knows the pathing, says the creeps will go to one side, I will go to the other. And Crystal Maiden loves getting last hits. Meanwhile, on the top lane, the split push of T1E is just too strong. They lost 2 towers. Now they're going to wrap around and try to get a kill here. Spirit Bear will go first. Smartly by T1E. He scouts out the only way the gank could have come from. Turns back on Fang. Pops his ultimate, but Zeus is here. Zeus does not have the mana for his ulti, though. So there is a chance that T1E can at least win the fight, but he doesn't. Just barely misses as they smartly stay on him and manage to get the kill. At that point, he sort of had to make that commitment. They rotated a lot up to the top to stop him, and they gave up a lot. That exchange was incredibly pro-University of Michigan.
Yeah, even if it had just stopped at the tower,
Yeah.
University of Michigan are tearing away with this game in a really difficult to foresee turn of events here for University of North Texas on the Radiant.
It didn't feel like it was spinning out of control, and then all of a sudden, it was out of control, right?
It is this Blink Dagger on the Alchemist is allowing his stun to be reliable all of a sudden. They're going to try to kill him. I'm not sure
regen's just too high. Between the regen and the toggle, he got a double stun. Worst case scenario, Spooky on the run. It is a double kill, and U of M rolling downhill. Basically, Zingel is sort of building in a weird way the old support Alchemist that I personally loved once upon a time with the flair of a carry's gold, and it's really working out well for him.
So this Blink Dagger on Alchemist is not super uncommon, and the Armlet on Alchemist is the old carry build, the old build that you might see from like circa TI2, TI3 Alchemist, the one position Alchemists that are there. The chainmail, once again, I assume that chainmail will end up going into a Solar Crest, which is also very popular in carry Alchemists right now, or mid Alchemists. but he won't even need it if they continue to kill at this pace, to be honest. With the Treant Armor and the Abaddon Aphatic Shield, this Alchemist can't be killed. Heals up from Chemical Rage too fast. By the time the Aphatic Shield has been drilled, he's already back to full health.
And here he goes again, so he's going to go ahead, and his ulti is down, though, so he's going to have to back away, but the Aphatic Shield, the heals are just too strong, and he went all the way in under the tower, took a ton of damage and a fissure, and still walked away relatively unscathed with a cooldown in 6 seconds that'll just heal him back to full if he needs to use it. Now Fang's going to come in. They want to try to close the deal before the ulti's off. He blinks away, pops the ultimate, and now looks for a re-engagement. Professor's going to walk into the stun. Uphill, buddy. It is the death of so many in the world of Dota. Zingle on the chase, 2 seconds left on his Blink Dagger. He'll use it immediately, put some damage on Deaths. Out comes Fang. Leon Yu's going to try to zone him backwards, but the ulti's still running for a couple more seconds. Here comes the Aphatic Shield. Nice play by Medusa. Will it be enough? Zingle taking a lot of damage. They could get the kill. They do. They had to fight tooth and nail to do it. That's a lot of gold going into their pockets, but what will happen is Fang is still here to fight. Nice player here. Backs away. Ultimate pops. Says, guys, we got to go. We don't have the entire crew. Lone Druid is off doing his own thing right now, and Alchemist went down. So we're going to see Pave go invisible. No vision right now on the Radiant side. WrestleMania grabs the bounty rune and is able to clear out. Meanwhile, Lone Druid left. Why? Because he's finished his Radiance.
Yeah, the Radiance is done, and the Bear is going to be coming in.
They did
There's
find
not
the tree.
anything for him to mop up here with the Bear, so he's going to give away this Radiance for no gains, but, you know, at least he's being annoying, I guess.
I guess he came in.
No, he's actually coming in.
Yeah.
He is physically coming in for the right click.
He's going. Everybody else is here. Here's a nice player here as well. They finish off the Coddle. He's here. Death's dropping pretty low. AA wants to help out. She doesn't have enough mana for the ulti. She's got wand charges. Didn't use it. Blinking by Fang. Lots of damage output. They caught him off guard. They were not prepared for the Fang dagger. It comes out and ends up costing Crystal Maiden her life. And now we will again see the Radiant retreat very quickly. But here comes Zangle. Oh, the blink double stun. Death takes it to the face. Fang overlays his stun with the fissure, and that's going to cost Leon Yu his life as the right clicks are there. Finished off with a little shot in the back from Abaddon.
Yeah, University of North Texas can't afford to be fighting in these situations. The only reason they managed to kill Zingle before, what has really very little to do with Zingle, it was that the Medusa's ultimate caught the Abaddon, right? With Abaddon and Tree Protector, if those two are up and able to cast, then Zingle can't be killed. The only way they can kill him is by taking out their medics. In a rare case of the support actually rendering the carry unstoppable.
And they did it once, but they haven't been able to do it since. 7-14, gold lead at 12,000, XP at 75. Zingle feeling pretty good. 3 points into Grievel's Greed. Definitely went for that early fight build instead of the hard farm build, but that's all going to change very, very soon as he's not got the points to put into it that fast. Midas has been reaping dividends on the Lone Druid as we did see the Radiance come up very quickly, and now the mech on Pave, which he has used, is going to make them even harder to kill these fights. And you gotta think the University of North Texas is thinking that maybe it's time to saddle up those horses and ride off into the sunset.
So, by the way, he did decide to go Zingle on the Alchemist, decided to go into an Assault Caress instead. This is going to be the Medusa ult, I assume. No, she doesn't have mana. She's
got it back. Zingle got stunned in the fissure. There's the ulti from Pave. Nicely done. That'll lock him in place. Death does manage to get up the mana enough to run the ultimate, and that will force them backwards. Pave dropping very low. AA inside of the trees, blows his ultimate. Got stunned, unfortunately, has to walk back out. Pave getting low, Sunky low. There's the ulti from Leon Yu, finishes off the tree. Nice player here in Fang and Zingle going head-to-head. Leon Yu's going to TP out. That's a desperation TP right there, and he will manage to get away. It's a 1-for-1. The problem is Zingle is up, and his ultimate is about to be off a cooldown, and he will heal right back up, farm the jungle, and rotate towards... I don't know. Where do you go with this right now? You just group up and goes forward, or do you wait for the tree to walk back out?
I mean, Zingle's gonna take these creeps probably.
That's the Zingle.
Right. During that fight, he was actually cutting creeps instead of fighting. He wasn't. You had moved your camera over and saw him standing next to Fang and called out that they were going mano a mano, but that's not what was happening at all. The Alchemist was farming and Zhang was watching. Or Fang, excuse me, was watching him farm and trying to harass him away from the creeps.
Leave my creeps alone. Come on.
Yeah, those are mine, man. So he was trying to make sure that tower could go down, which, by the way, really, really easy at this stage with an Assault Caress.
Right. So the AC proving very effective. Zingle with to me, a unique build for what we see regularly. I guess you know, but very, very effective, especially in this game. Played very well as a team. This is a strategy they clearly have been practicing or messing around with. That's proving effective. Zingle, though, is alone. He does not have his team back up. In comes Abaddon. He's going to get up the shield, and now we're going to see the invincibility factor come in. The second Abaddon shows his face, University of North Texas scatters to the winds and tries to run for the hills. Nice play by Professor to knock Zingle back there. The stun from Slaughter, perfectly timed with it, but will it be enough to stop him? Oh, he blinked in the wrong direction, so that will be a self-stun. Nice play by Dr. Professor to walk around the outside. Spoonky comes in. Nice Fisher. Zingle's going to get locked out. Aphotic Shield off a cooldown right now. Throws it up. Zingle 9 seconds left on his ultimate, and he'll walk away, not even have to burn the Aegis. These fights are continuing to go on, and they're putting all of their time and effort into stopping Zingle, and they're not even getting the Aegis out. Meanwhile, TIE just keeps on farming.
Yeah, they honestly just have to ignore this Alchemist. As hard as that is, they need to ignore him until they can kill at least the Treant Protector, because Treant Protector has been giving him the living armor globally, right? That's a big portion of his survivability. That armor boost, the regen, and the reduction of damage for 7 instances at this point, because it's max. It's devastating. They need to force some folks out. I think, honestly, Keeper Light should be hitting Abaddon with the mana drain right away to open every fight.
Right.
Zeus is going to go down. At least that would stop the Aphotic Shield from coming out, because they have to do something. They can kill Zingle if they just try to kill Zingle. It's all of the other confounding issues that are making it impossible.
Confounding is a good way to define what I think UNT is dealing with right now. The Bear's going to come in. This is what the Bear star's in right now. We've talked about this recently. One of the biggest issues with him is the ability just after 20 minutes to just take towers alone and chip him down. Now, he's not alone because Zingle's going in deep. Out comes the ultimate that will cost Zingle, but it's just going to be an Aegis. Meanwhile, racks are falling to the Bear as they invest everything they have into keeping Zingle from killing them. Zingle immediately blinks away, happy to use the Aegis. That'll be the melee racks, and they're going to move to the range racks. No harm, no foul. They say, we dare you to come fight us. The fissure is now down, so that means that they can finish the range racks very quickly before they back away, which I presume they will do now. Here comes the initiation. Big Echo Slap, but Zingle immediately starts to regen. New player here is going to go ahead and get his ultimate pop. Backed away, heals back up to full off of the Coddle Blast. Meanwhile, T1E dropping pretty low, pulls his Bear back, and the heals are real as they start to back away. Zingle says time to re-engage, blinks in, throws the stun. Blind blink, well played, keeps moving forward. Now he's going to back. Fang does happen to get up the stun. Zingle pops his ultimate and goes back for more regen.
And the base is left devastated. They walk out with no casualties. This game is wildly out of control for University of North Texas. Their Medusa is not going to get big enough to handle this on her own, which means Slardar now needs to become a semi-core out of a relatively difficult offlane. I'm not sure that they can do this unless they start getting out and getting ganks, and it seems that U of M are aware of this because everybody except Zingle is grouped up, and I'm not sure that they can kill Zingle even if they get 5 men on him if the living armor is available.
It is worth noting that the GPM of University of Michigan is over 1,000 per minute as a team at the moment. So they are literally...
you mean the net worth differential?
Net worth differential, yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's it's a massive number. There's not a lot that I think Texas can do to overcome this. They depended a lot on finding Farm for Deaths, who's sitting on a Yasha and a Maelstrom, and it feels like a desperation Maelstrom. So, when you're in that situation, I mean, yes, you have wave protection, but they've got a Spirit Bear.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. We haven't been talking a ton about TIE or T1E. Just because he hasn't been the centerfold for this game. Alchemist has really been the focal point of attention for the obvious reason that U of M designed their draft to make Alchemist the center point. They want you to be distracted by him. They want him to be on the front line soaking up all of the damage. But really a lot of split pushing coming out of T1E, a lot of very good positioning, and the fact that his GPM by itself is only 100 beneath the Alchemist is staggering.
Very, very true. It does. It speaks a little bit of a... It's a weird Alliance EG fusion draft, which I find very interesting, the way that they're doing this. But the idea of moving its farm onto T1E, taking the focus elsewhere with the tanking, but also using the sort of support finesse that I really enjoy seeing out of Evil Geniuses. These guys have sort of found a style that is clearly their own with this draft, and it has worked out very, very well for the University of Michigan. Gold lead at 25, by
This
the
is the
way.
sort
It's
of
been 15.
thing I think that we might have seen Newbie run back when Newbie was really, really good, to be honest.
Before they went off and played mobile games.
Right, before they, you know.
What did
took
they
a
say
break
that they
for a
took time
while.
for? RPGs. Wow, good Echo Slam. But they kill him. It's just too
All right,
much.
Stone Gaze is there.
All right, literally every AoE spell they have was used. Well, that actually finalizes it with the last shot from Coddle. And in comes Pave with his ultimate, opens up the chase for player here. Zingle's gonna blink in with his stun, goes Hambone, Deaths and the Doctor both drop down. And Fang wants to keep playing. They're determined to kill Zingle, which they
There we go.
finally do. Turns back, nice player here will also go down, but the bear takes the Rex.
Yeah, he does not have a resummon on the Spirit Bear for a full minute.
Yeah.
And Zingle's down for a full minute as well.
But so they lose a tier 1 if they're unlucky. But T1E looks like he's going. He goes in bold. Crystal Maiden is going to
He
go
tried
down.
to save the Crystal Maiden.
Yeah,
there.
he was trying to scare him back, and it didn't work out. He's actually might be in a little bit of trouble. No, he's fine.
I mean, he did. It literally scared them back with the Savage Roar, and he was trying to buy the space for the CM to squeeze out of that hiding hole. But the communication didn't seem to be quite on point. He's gonna do it again.
Wow, well done.
What a skill.
The stun's there. Spunky wants to chase. The
Oh,
blink dagger's
no.
up. He's going to turn into a bear. Gets pushed backwards, and he will still manage to get away.
I
GG comes
suspect
out
that
from
that's
Fang.
I think that's a cheeky
Mistake.
pub game, good game. Yeah, that the way that you would say if you missed a stun
Right.
in a pub game. I think that's
Was it
what
last
that
week
was.
when somebody said bet to say that's my team?
Yeah. That was also
Ron
something
chat. That
happened.
was also hilarious.
But
All right.
yeah, this is.
Does the eggs?
So
Does the bear have eggs? Oh, look, Lone Druid's got it on him.
Alchemist is a really good hero when you build him. Okay, the Octarine is weird, but when you do build him for right click,
Right.
he's a really good hero for the late game as well. But not only because even if your opponents do manage to take megas on you, you're still farming. But also he makes every hero on his team scale up in stats with basically an infinite amount of gold sink into the ags, right? It's very rare that you're going to see an Alk have time to farm up 5 ags, one for each member of his team to be spent.
So did he build the
And
Octarine?
then-
Did he build that just for the reduced cooldown on Chemical Rage?
Yeah, and probably also Unstable Concoction, but
Mm.
yeah. Normally you see people who do that do Radiance and Manta style as well, so that they
Right.
get the illusion for the farming. He doesn't
guess
really
that's
seem
true.
to care about that.
No, I mean, honestly, with the Octarine core, the cooldown on Chemical Rage drops to 33.5 seconds. The uptime is 25. So that means he has 8 seconds at any given time when he doesn't have his
And
full
those
regen.
seconds are going to usually be covered by Aphotic Shield and
Exactly.
Living Armor.
So he's
There's
essentially...
also
He says,
Guardian
I don't
Breeze.
benefit from the heal as much, but the fact that now I can pretty much consistently keep Rage up means I'm virtually unkillable. I get it. It is strange, but I can see why he went down that road.
I mean, it's not the best item that he could have gotten. Like, I don't want to say empirically, but as close to empirically as you can get for item decisions on the fly, he has barely been dying. So even if having extra Chemical Rage would keep him alive more, is clearly not an issue. It's really more of a cheeky thing.
It's
for
more
him
of
to
a
do.
it's more of the thing you do when the game feels like it's in the bag.
Yeah, and he presumably is going to go Heart next and just not be killable. But if there is a hero that can come back from this, Medusa might
Yeah.
be that hero. She does have a Maelstrom, as you mentioned. She bought it presumably because she plans on going up against supers for a long time in this game. That's why you buy Maelstroms on most of those. I just don't think that's enough,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Desperate-
The Slardar actually farmed out fairly well, but he farmed into a support, semi-core style build,
Yeah.
and that's just not cutting it from behind.
Which is where the couriers hate to be hit from. All right, so the gold lead is, I mean, it's just ridiculous right now. Here's the fight. I think that they go to the high ground with the Aegis. They push for the finish. If North Texas gets a stand here and is able to take Zingle down or stop the Lone Druid push, then maybe they have a chance. Obviously, if we see Medusa go down here, she's not holding buyback. She's invested everything she's got in this fight. If she goes down, the game is effectively over. Zingle caught in a fissure, laid into on all sides. He's not carrying an Aegis. He's just depending on the Octarine core cooldown to keep him up. Spooky taking a lot of damage. Here comes the ultimate from Medusa. Well played. It's going to lock out the support. Zingle's going to go down in the midst of the Chemical Rage. Now Nice Player has to back off. T1E tried to take a tower. Spirit Bear's is going to come out. T1E taking a lot of damage. UNT going to fall back. They got a pretty good play there. They picked up the CM and the Alchemist at the cost of only an Earthshaker, and that's a really, really good exchange for them. A net worth swing. Did you see that net worth swing? Almost
I've
4,000.
been distracted this whole fight by the fact that Lone Druid appears to be going for a refresher.
Wants 2 bears? You can't have 2 bears.
Well, you can't have 2 bears. When you resummon, it leaves.
Hey,
Either that or he's getting a Battle Fury, one for him and one for his bear, maybe.
That or just spamming the bear in. I don't know. Maybe just spam the bear to push the last tower. What do you... Either way, it was a great play by University of North Texas to hold the high ground.
What a player. So yeah, this is just more
refresher.
more of University of Michigan rubbing it in. But for North Texas, that was a pretty good engagement, as you mentioned. They are still 30,000 net worth in deficit at 31 minutes. So you can't say things are looking up for them, but at least that engagement worked out. And their Medusa's starting to sling a fair amount of damage.
She does slinging a fair amount of damage. Is it enough? I don't think so. But it's nice. It's got to feel good.
Nice.
It's got to feel nice. You can see, guys, I got the Chrysalis. It's not over yet. And Suki's going, I got a Blink Dagger. That's about it. I do like Zeus's build here. I'm a huge, as you know, fan of Veil of Discord into Aetherlands, especially if you've got something like an Earthshaker on your team, or the initiation power of the Slaughter Blink. It's just, there's a lot of things you can put together to put out a lot of damage.
They just don't have a ton, with the exception of if Earthshaker has his ultimate up, which is not going to be the case for every one of these fights because these pushes are going to be coming faster and faster and faster. They don't have a ton of magic damage to follow up with.
I don't know. I think that if you open with the
Give me a
Veil,
sheep stick,
I think the key is veiling into a Snake Arrow and a Blink Initiation by the Earthshaker is a ton of damage. And we did just see that come out. Zingle drops a little bit low. Fissure going to follow. Zingle wants to make the chase, though. He's just so tanky. Gets pushed back by Dr. Professor. Mischance is going to be high. Death now using that split arrow to farm aggressively. T1E caught inside of the stud. He's got to back away. The tower does go down to the bear. The bear's just going to stand there and spam the tower. Out comes the stun. It's a double on Professor and Sunki. And Death will continue to defend. Zingle wants to come back in. The refresher bear is on his way as he's used and sent right in to start fighting. Doesn't go for the Rax, though, ends up trying to click Deaths. Goes down to Death. Death's now putting some damage on T1E. Zingle tries to just do some damage to the tower. Says, I don't have as much as I thought I did. Now he's caught out. Stun is there. He's got to back very aggressively. T1E is as well. And they will think about re-engaging. Zingle's going to throw up the stun on Deaths. In jumps Fang, misses the stud. He's very deep. He's alone. He will go down. That could be the end of the game, as now Death's going to be forced to run backwards. And unless he can stake this ground, it's going to end. So he is going to go down. He will buy back immediately, but Professor's left behind. He drops. We're going to see the glyph used to try and save the Rax. It's not going to happen, though. The Rax still dropping very low. Aegis is going to come out on T1E. Zingle gets the stun, or almost. Yule Scepter will disjoint the stun. Zingle, though, can he just put in some work? Spooky taking a lot of damage. In comes the plays as they try everything they can to stop this. Zingle is now committed to the Rax, as is T1E. They will finish it at the cost. No, they don't! It lived! It lived at 27 health. AA wants to finish it. She can't do it either. She goes down. The Racks survive, and Megas are avoided as it's a 4-man wipe. Make that 5 as Pave is stuck. Can they finish the job? It's just an Earth Spirit praying. He does pop his dust. The chase is on. Pave gives himself some living armor. Everything that they've got is going into this, beautifully played to get the stun. And let Leon, you close the distance. The Fissure is there. He's going to use it, and that will be the end. It's a 5 team wipe, boys, as University of Michigan gives up the goose. And just look at this. The Rack's already regenerating. The living armor going to be thrown on it very quickly. Megas are prevented. The gold swing is going to be massive at the end of that day.
What living armor? Living armor's on the other team. That's natural
Never mind.
regen.
That's just, Jesus, that's a lot. I didn't realize. That was fast.
Yeah, it's 5 per second.
It is 5 per second. It's stupid. That's frustrating. It's frustrating if Michigan invested.
It's not that frustrating for Michigan. They're 4,000 less in the lead for net worth. There's still like 26,000 net worth in the lead at 34 minutes. They can probably afford to. They could just run in one at a time and slap that.
Well, that's the refresher Spirit Bear theory, right? It's he's just like, I'm gonna Spirit Bear, then I'll Spirit Bear, then I'll refresher Spirit Bear, and if all of them hit the Racks, it'll go down. It did not work
And
out though.
it
I mean,
did not work, but it came very close.
part of the problem
Imagine if one of the
is
spirit bears,
Right.
If you had half the spirit bears, but they did more damage.
That's true. I see what your point was there. I think the real problem was that Zingle is like a squirrel seeing shiny objects in that fight and can't just stick to a target. Like, he was running around. If somebody came forward, they stopped hitting the racks to hit Professor. There was a lot of points where they could have just done the damage, finished the racks, and then picked a fight. But they're having too much fun. They're having too much fun.
Destroy the barracks really easily right here.
Lay on you.
Yeah.
Nice play by Fang to stun, but Zingle will still come out in time to throw. No, he won't. They get out of vision range. He will stun himself. Gets fissured. They're just trying to slow down his progression. He's literally hit with
Godzilla,
everything.
Man.
Back to full. Goes straight to the tower. Doing a little bit of back and forward. Spirit Bear is there. Wants to play as well. Refresher Orb is off a cooldown, as is the new... Bear is actually still on 60 seconds, so... looks like they want to push forward. There's the blink by Zingle. Comes in, gets a nice double fissure stun. The blowback by Dr. Professor puts Zingle in a precarious position as he wants to try to escape. The Spirit Bear's going to come in from behind. Look at the damage he did at the right click to that Rax. Rax will go down. That's Megas. Death is going to drop here. Spunky is getting very, very low. Death's actually managed to pop his ulti and back away, but the Bear is on the chase, has the BKB, and now he turns back. They're going to find Lay on You. Tia1E takes a lot of damage. The Bear will go down as well, as will the tree. Player here, Zingle, comes in, catches Fang, gets the kill. It's 2 for the price of 1. Abaddon dropping pretty low with the Aphotic Shield. Gonna save himself with the Yules. AA still on the run. Zingle wants to come right back in. AA is gonna go down. They're gonna turn back on Zingle. Zingle should go down here. It's a 5-man wipe, but what's it matter? Can you stand up to Megas long enough to farm your way through 3 tier 1s that are still standing on the map? I mean, no towers are down on the Dire side.
To their credit, they do have tower damage, which is more than I would honestly expect because there is a treant on the other team.
True.
If you at University of Michigan were playing this even remotely
let's be
seriously at this
honest.
point, there would be no tower damage.
Not necessarily,
and items would be
because
very
if you're
different.
playing the tree on University of Michigan, you're scared to living armor a tower because you know that if it happens to be down when Zingle makes a crazy initiation, you're going to get
He's gonna
spam
ping
pinged.
10,000 times. Yeah. Well, he could do it right now. Zingle's dead, so.
And living armor's down. What a coincidence. I'm just saying, when you've got Zingle pinging you that aggressively, it messes with your living armor game.
Up already? What is this game? Yeah, I just don't think there's the wave clear, honestly, here in this draft to deal with Megas, even if they weren't behind right now.
Yeah.
Let's say this tower was, and this tower, and that tower, and that tower, and that tower, and that tower, and maybe this whole set of racks all spontaneously combusted.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like the wave clear is there.
I also
to get out
think,
against
the
Megas.
fact that they only have this one tower left that's also at half health is making
Right.
it almost impossible. I mean, if they had 2 that could help with the defense so they could push forward, maybe.
I honestly, even if they had 2, I don't think that it could be. Even if they had like 7 towers right here, their draft just isn't conductive to dealing with Megas. Medusa's great at it, but Zeus is crap. Like against Megas, Arc Lightning is nothing, right? The Slardar, we've talked about this ad nauseum in previous casts. The Slardar cannot flash farm for crap. He farms heroes or his team loses, basically. Keeper Light does great against normal creeps with Illuminate, but it is shrugged off by Megas. And none of them have great attack speed, so building Maelstroms, while the best option, is not that great of an option either.
I think that's going to be the next
Right.
item. That's the next item we need to see. Plasma
From
Turret.
everybody.
No,
Right.
Plasma Turret, 5,000 gold. It gives you a tower for 10 minutes.
Jeez. Even with it, it would do nothing. You should put it like right here too. Just run into your opponent's base and put it up there.
Oh man.
Slow down their progression, their creeps, cut their creeps with it.
Cut creeps, yeah.
Real smoked up. U of M is dragging this out so much longer
Yeah.
than they have to.
Well, they're enjoying
Pressure
the
there.
victory or the feeling of victory as they're doing very well. They have lost over 10,000 gold in net worth, but Zingle's going in very deep, doing Zingle things. Mana drained, chased around. He's got an Aegis, so he's basically stalling as T1E comes in and just starts to wail on the tower, finishes it off. Now he's going to work on the Ancient. Zingle's still kiting, staying alive, saying, ha ha, nanny nanny boo boo. He will go down. The Aegis will pop here in just a second. T1E, though, taking a lot of damage from Lay on You. AA is, we got also a killing spree from Death. He finishes up. It looked like the lone druid Sorry. Treant Protector's got to back off. AA's trying to keep safe, but she can't come close enough to even use her ultimate. Zingle, however, is going to still go head-to-head with the
He's
entire
on the
team.
wrong side. He can't get to it. He's got to back out now.
He wanted to go on it. Nice fissure to keep him away from the Ancient. Now he's going to be kept by Spooky. He doesn't have any support, so he is alone, and he will very likely go down again.
This
That's
is so
3.
dumb.
They got the tower, and they're doing some damage to the
It doesn't-
Ancient.
So the Megas by themselves would not finish this game for a really long time
Mm-hmm.
into a Medusa. She is good enough to hold the base against Megas alone, but once again, what did they do?
Right.
There's no way they're going to push out.
The second you
It's just
push
not gonna
Boots of
happen.
Travel, you're donezo.
Right. I either Medusa can be holding the base or she can be pushing up to take down in tier 1,
Mm-hmm.
but she can't be doing both. The rest of her team is just way too far off. So
Plus, Dire can
once again,
literally...
U of M,
Dire,
I mean,
Dire
they
sees
took-
everything, too.
U of M took a tower with about that much health down this time and about half the ancient. Next time they're gonna have to take a whole ancient because it will heal up probably.
I pulled
even
up
so-
I pulled up Dire Vision real quick. I want everybody to see that there's literally one spot on the entire map where you can get out of base as a Radiant without being spotted. So
Yeah,
they've done
and that, even that is very unlikely just
Right, 'cause
because
of the creep waves.
the megas are constantly streaming in. Yeah, and as though they could leave the base
Anyway,
regardless, right?
Still though, it's,
What are they going to do?
well, that's what I'm
They're
saying.
gonna
You
lose the
send out the
courier here.
you send out
They're
the
gonna lose the
courier.
courier.
That's the problem. Is everywhere that the courier tried to go out, everything's just watched like a hawk, and they're doing
Yeah.
a good job of keeping that vision up, making sure they have the advantage. And like you said, yes, University of Michigan is playing this a little. What's the word I'm looking for? YOLO-y.
Medusa needs to buy a courier. I think she just did. No, Zeus bought it. Yeah, they need another courier so that she can get some more damage. She's got 34,000 gold. She's presumably going to go for Divine
Gotcha.
as fast as her little slithery butt can take her there,
All right.
which is not very fast because megas are not worth very much gold.
So the last courier couldn't do it. What they're going to do this time is they're going to send him out as bait. They were going to try to get the courier back out there, and they can't because right down the middle lane is the rest of the push. And all three lanes pushing in very aggressively. The megas are very strong. We're smoking in base. That's how desperate the situation is for the Dire. They smoked and looked to go out to get a fight and then said, we can't. We have to stay here and defend. It hurts too much.
They could get the courier out over the tree line
Right.
this way.
No one
And-
seems
and
to
do
be
it
into the
big.
micro.
Yeah, no. Well, you just shift queue it. Just shift queue it. It takes 2 seconds.
That's true. Fair point.
You know.
Yeah, Texas.
Come on, Texas. You're losing the game because of this.
Uh-huh.
Clearly.
Clearly.
This, I'm not sure that I agree with this Mask of Madness at this stage either. Just because the amount of damage that comes out onto the Medusa. I'm not sure she's buying it up. She buys a BKB. There's also a BKB on Zingle, I think now. Yeah, there is. So
Should be interesting as they go head to head
I
with the
don't
physical damage.
I don't think that there's any dealing with him. At the only way that they've been dealing with him before is just stunning him out while his team ignores him. Right.
Right. And like you said, I mean, or like we pointed out, there's not even a tower down on the side of
Right.
U of M yet. So,
Though, once again, to their credit, they still have some tower damage. This tower has not been fully healed up by the Treant yet because he's slacking.
he is slacking, but then again, he's just scared of the ping. Zingle, speaking of which, wants to go in, is going to get ready to... Oh, no, his Blink Dagger's gone, sorry. So he did get rid of that as he comes forward with that BKB, and he looks like he might just try to go and finish this game, but he gets stunned backwards immediately as the fight will not break out. Here he comes, pops the BKB, goes ham, in comes the bear as well. Medusa going to go ahead and use her ultimate. The roots come out from the tree. Zingle putting some damage. He turns, he started hitting the Phoenix instead. Turns back, and now he's like, okay, I gotta back off of this. The Spirit Bear putting in some damage. Nice play by the Zeus. Lots of ulti. Zingle goes invisible, turns back around, cannot get to the Ancient in time, and now we have lost Zingle. CM's box out. Lone Druid trying to do what he could, but it was not enough, and the rest of the team has to back away. Pave's gonna hide
There's
out
the pings.
in the tree.
Oh no,
and
that's
there's-
Keeper to Light. I thought Zingle is pinging Abaddon for not aphotic shielding him.
It would have been entertaining. Now the Ancient is down to a quarter health, but will continue to heal itself, as it has done for this entire game. Is the Dire can't seem to make the Crazy Town hard push work, but they also can't seem to get a clean fight out of Texas, who's doing a very good
I
job
mean-
of playing back.
They could, but Lone Druid is farming right now, so he's not exactly contributing to this whole ancient killing
Why
strategy.
is he farming? What are you doing? We got 3 games. We got 2 more games tonight, buddy.
His GPM, by the way, is greater than Zingle's now because Zingle's been dying.
Yeah, Zingle's been a real dingle. What?
But
I'm just saying. The
for
fees.
Medusa's ult is back up now too. She's got it up to level 3, and it will stop Zingle through his BKB.
U of M's
At least temporarily.
U of M's only up by 10,000 gold at this point, so it's been they pulled back 20,000 from the lead. So at least they're you can say, hey, we fought our way back. The items are very
Right.
strong right now. I mean, Zeus is about as stacked as he's going to get. Coddle does have the Ags, which has made him very effective in these fights and actually been a huge contributor to them being able to hold his bases and stop the damage.
Unfortunately, gold. I mean, honestly, in terms of useful items, University of North Texas is probably has more gold because the items coming out here are not unilaterally useful. The
Right.
Octarine gives stats, some survivability, but it's not as much as his damage and lifesteal would be if he had gotten damage and lifesteal instead, right? And the Lone Druid has a Refresher, which is a huge item that is borderline useless on that hero. The Abaddon's item progression is pretty good, actually.
So the moral of the story is you're saying, while it's still a 10,000 lead on U of M, because of the itemization they've chosen, it's essentially even in terms of items.
Yeah.
Makes
Right,
sense.
but the other thing is that at this stage of the game, 46 minutes, the
Gold's not as
gold
important.
really makes a very small impact on the overall.
I don't know.
survival.
BKBs are a pretty big deal at this stage of the game, as we see as they go for that mid. The tower, there it is. Ancient push. They just go in. Everyone gets BKBs. He refreshed him. I think he refreshed BKB'd himself and the Spirit Bear and went in there to just finish the game. So the GG comes out. They had a good time. My name's Toffees. You can follow me at Toffees TV and join my co-caster Gorgon the Wonder Cow. You can find him at the Wonder Cow over on Twitter, and of course, I'll find all the action for Collegiate Star League at C Star League there as well. Big shout out to Twitch and Aces Relica Gamers for bringing you the best in college esports. This is game one. We've got at least one more, possibly two, depending on how it goes between University of Michigan and the University of North Texas as we move towards the next match. Stick around, enjoy the music. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game two in just a few moments. And as always, Toffees out.